We're now live.
Hello. Hello. Instagram up here and Instagram here. We are live on Megan Siemens and at the Andrew Johnston. Hi and hello.
Hello, that's
I'm Megan Siemens.
See us looking up and down, that's why. And I'm Andrew Johnston.
As per the name. Hi, we're talking about human design today. Oh, I talk with my hands a lot, so I'm sorry camera down here if we are like this.
It's coming at you.
What it is. I am so excited to be chatting about this topic. I'm so excited to be here with Andrew chatting about this topic.
A very newbie to the topic of human design, so that's why I'm so happy that she's going to be explaining some of this. A lot of her followers up here, you all might be familiar with human design where she's been talking about it, but my followers here, that's where I really wanted to introduce them to human design because, well, we'll kind of get into it.
Yeah, so we're kind of going to interview each other a bit. We'd love for you all to ask any questions you have. This is kind of the pre-party for the free training that I'm hosting next week. I'm so excited about this.
When's the free training?
It's Thursday, June 25th. I'm so excited about this because so many of my clients and followers have been asking since they learned that I'm studying human design, or I've finished studying human design now. You all have been asking for readings and sessions, and I've been reading for my private clients, and it's just been absolutely incredible. So I'm so excited for this free training on Thursday, June 25th. It's called By Design, and we're diving into using human design as a tool to unlock your purpose, so you can become absolutely magnetic, and we'll talk a bit about what that means.
Can they find the link in your bio?
For sure.
All right.
We balance each other's design out.
Yeah, you got some people asking.
You can find the link in my bio, or you can do a bit.ly/bydesign webinar. So, with all that being said, we have some people here live now. Hi and hello. Let's get this thing started.
Let's do it.
So, I think the only right place to start is, what the heck is human design? What are you even talking about? If you've never heard about it, that's probably your very first question. So in the simplest of all terms, human design is the science of differentiation. So it's literally the study of how all humans are different. And I couldn't love that more because that's something I've brought into my coaching practice from the very beginning. I've always done very custom coaching, very personalized coaching, because I am very aware that all humans operate differently. And after trying to fit into many formulas and hitting many road bumps along that path, I've just been obsessed with discovering how we can best operate uniquely as ourselves. So I've done loads of research into different tools, and nothing has quite clicked like this.
I can definitely contest to that.
Yeah.
Once she got it going, I was
amazed.
Yeah.
So it basically brings in a lot of different studies into one big, massive, beautiful study of yourself. It is completely personalized, bringing in all these different aspects of astrology and I Ching and so many ancient wisdoms. And I don't want to I can go running and talking about this forever and ever because I love it so much.
That's what the webinar is for too.
For sure. And I'm going to open it up for questions here as well. But I've been studying things for about a year now, trying to figure out what to fit with my coaching practice as an additional tool. And my wonderful partner here, Andrew, he always goes along and supports my my journeys, and he loves all the crystals around our house. And he loves all my moon readings and my cards in the mornings. But you've never been teach me or show me how or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Until human design.
Right. So I wanted to, kick this off with asking you, what did spark your interest in having me read your chart? What made it different than the other things that I begged him? It's please let me buy you crystals, let me read let me read your cards, let me tell you about the moon cycles. And you were sure, yeah, that's great. But with human design, you kept going, tell me more, tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. So what was that for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So really, it's seeing her and seeing her excitement build around something. Yeah, I mean, obviously, you see how just like infectious her just excitement and her personality is, right? It's like this all the time, right? It's not just like on video. But I've never seen her get so excited and so passion driven behind something like she has with human design, and just soaking it up, and just reaching out, talking to so many different people, and just really engulfing and just learning as much as she could. So I was like, okay, what is this? And she started really telling me about like where it came from, the origin of it. And then you did a couple readings with people before me, and especially one on herself, and she started saying these things, and I was kind of like, oh, well, that's like the zodiac, right? Like that's kind of like, it's like they say things, and it's going to be, just what's the best word of just kind of saying, like, it's broad, right? It's just kind of broad for everyone.
Like, and your brain finds the meaning in something. So like if someone says, and this is what your, for example, this is what your like astrology sign says, like our brain can start to find meaning in that. Like, oh yeah, that could be me. Oh yeah, that could be me. And yeah.
And so that's where I kind of thought, I was like, okay. And me, I'm a natural skeptic. And so it's kind of like, okay, yeah, this thing's cool. And then the more she started reading, and especially talking about herself, I was like, that reminds me of you, and oh, I see that. And it was just the more and more, like the further down the rabbit hole, going down, I was like, wow, I was like, okay, do me, like read my human design. And yeah. And so then she started going through some of this stuff, and I mean, I was like, holy crap. I started resonating with so much of it, and I was like, yes, like that's exactly me. That's not like, oh, that could kind of be me. I was like, wow, that is. And then even some of the things that I didn't even want to admit, right? I was like, that's right.
Yeah. And the thing I love about human design, and what really drew me into this tool, is there's 2 billion, with a B, billion configurations. It's literally all human beings are made different. Like it. I haven't seen 2 charts.
You're
that
uniquely
are alike.
awesome, and this human design, just tells you how you are uniquely awesome. Yeah.
It's like actually what I've been really describing it as the most, and what I've been seeing come out the most, is it's a permission slip. It's a permission slip. It's oftentimes it's not news to you. Like you hear it and you're like, oh. It's like a coming home. It's like a permission slip to come back home to who you've always known you're meant to be. And it like re-sparks that in you, and it gives you permission to show up in full with that. Because I know there were so many things in your chart that you were maybe raised to do the opposite of, and the minute you heard it, you were like, oh, you're like, yeah, because I did that in this example in my life, and it worked for me.
Can I give an example?
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So I guess one of the biggest takeaways that I had with human design, when she was reading my human design, that I was really growing up, I was one of those people that grew up as like, go to school, get the college education, get a good job, so you can retire, right? And I've just fought that. I just couldn't tell you why, but I've fought, and I've just always been an entrepreneur. I've started multiple businesses, and I just like kind of going on my own schedule, my own terms. And then she literally read that in my human design. She's like, that's what you're meant to be. I mean, literally like word for word, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, honestly, it shows up in so many more parts of his chart. Like I've actually never seen so many parts of someone's chart talk about how independent and entrepreneurial you are. It's literally written all over.
So any of my managers or former supervisors, bosses see this, now it's in my human design, man. It's a woman.
Yeah, can't help it.
Yeah.
It's there. It's written.
Yeah.
It really is. It's just a permission slip to come home to who you are, and so often we resist so many of those things. And we were just talking about this before we went live. We've been living a life by design for 4 or 5 years now, like
yeah, 4 or 5.
Intentionally choosing the path we want, intentionally choosing the path we want to show up in. But the thing is, like, you choose the path you want to show up in, and there's always new levels to move to. Like I talked about this in my story today. When you choose the path of growth, like it doesn't stop you. It doesn't stop. And as many times as you like hit a wall and want to give up, like, you know, you can't, because you can't, you'll continue to get those nudges towards freedom. You'll continue to deeply desire that growth. So we've been living this life by design for like 4 or 5 years now. And what it really did for me, at least, and maybe you can put your addition into this, is it led me into that next level of leadership, and it opened my eyes up to, here's where I was creating a lot of resistance in my life. That's why I hit burnout so many times. That's why I hit this wall. And it just opened my eyes up to that. And it was no longer like, who has the answer? Like, where do I have to find it? It really just brings you inward. And you're like your best.
Where you have a lot of confidence, in yourself.
Yeah.
And it's so much that, you know, kind of going back to, again, my biggest takeaway is one of the things that talks about is listen to like your spleen, which is like listen to your gut. And that's what my human design is. And I've always been told like, whoa, you know, like listen, you know, you just stop. Like go through, you know, it's like, what's the upside? What's the downside? And I'm not supposed to react that way. I'm supposed to listen to my gut. I'm supposed to go off my gut feelings. And just so many times, I mean, she can go back years and be like, I knew this in my gut. I should have done this. And now it's like in my human design, and it's saying like, you know, listen to your gut, listen to that feeling. If you have that feeling, take it. And it's just like, it was like mind blowing to me. And ever since she's read my human design, that's where I've been just more and more of listen to my gut and reminding myself, listen to my gut. I don't need to like hang out. I don't need to like ask myself all these questions and create a pros list and create a cons list and take weeks to make a decision. Just what feels right, go with my gut. And I mean, it's been, my business is growing, just everything. My life is, you know, it's like I feel like my decisions, just feel like I have more confidence in myself. And I honestly, I mean, you know, as hard as it is to admit, is I felt like that was missing. And it's like, and she mentioned giving permission. So it's like reading my chart, going through human design, showing like how I'm, you know, just uniquely designed, gave me permission to go back and say, okay, this is what people have been telling you, but maybe that's not your design. Maybe you're designed to act this way. And I was like, well, heck, what do I have to lose, right? Let's try it. And
you've been experimenting with it, and it's been amazing.
Yes.
Yeah. It's been pretty cool to watch too. Like 100%. It's been like so cool to watch the process within himself, within myself, within the clients that I've read it for. If you all are just joining, if you have any questions about the webinar or about human design, please put them in the comment section, and we will definitely answer them. We want to make this like a pre-party before the webinar.
Are we married? Not yet. Retire and play, keep working, get back to the world, definitely.
Andrew, by the way, Andrew's live as well, so we're
looking at I gotta say, I got a phone.
We're looking at his comments too. So I want to know if you ever felt overwhelmed with the information I was giving you, because I know I actually came across human design, I think 3 years ago, and then again, and then again, and then again.
We have a great statement here, kind of question too.
It just kept calling me, and it kept calling me in, but it's in my design. It's in my design to follow a different authority. But what happened was the way I was reading the information was feeling overwhelming. And if you've ever opened your human design chart, like it's a body graph with like all these different energy flows, and then it has like type and authority and profile and numbers and arrows and like every time I saw it, I was like, what is happening? Like, what is going on?
She handed me my chart, and I saw all of that, and I was like, what?
Yeah. So did you
like, what does this mean?
Ever feel overwhelmed with the information, like, as I was letting it unfold for you?
Not when you were guiding me through it, no. When you, as I mentioned, when you handed me my chart, and you're like, this is your chart, and you're just like, this is so awesome. And I looked at it, and like you said, it's just all these lines and different things and different like energy flows. And I looked at it, and I was like, I don't know what this means. Yeah. But you know, fortunately, you know, you were able to lead me through it and to where it made sense. And you know, I mean, I've looked at like some of the books and things, and yeah, I mean, if you just look at it, or there's websites that you can get on and look at it, and it's going to overwhelm you immediately. And that's why I'm really actually excited for your webinar. You know, shameless plug there.
Much.
You know, but
much goodness.
But yeah, I mean, because it's literally like if I had stumbled across it, or just like when you first stumbled across it, it can be super overwhelming for people.
Yeah. And I think you have to be like passionately obsessed with learning the system and like committed to putting that study into it. And
I mean, like you said, over a year of study now.
Yeah, it's been super fun to combine it with my coaching as well. So the webinar is going to be a super fun experience. I really hope to see you all there on it. Did you say there was a question or something?
Well, we've talked about this, and it's actually, I love that. I think it's Danny that brought it up, and she said, human design, he's the master creator, referring to God. And I would love your thoughts on that.
Oh, like God is the master creator, so like no to human design? Sure, yeah, I actually love this question. I've actually been having this conversation quite a bit recently. So human design is not a belief system, and it certainly doesn't. In fact, no growth work or any work you do should take away with your connection to spirit, God, source, higher power, whatever it is you connect with. No learning system or growth or any work that you do should ever take away from that connection.
You're divinely created.
Yes, you're 100% divinely created. This is a tool to add to your toolkit. It's not a belief system. It's not a label. Like I said, it's a permission slip. You take it, and if you're like, I don't like this, don't use it. But what I really encourage you to do is take the information and figure out how it fits and integrates into your life. There are so many moments that I read to Andrew, and the exciting moments that he was like, oh, that's me, that's me. And so many moments that I read that I was like, that's me, that's me, that's me. And then there were moments that we read that were like, let me sit with that one for a bit. Let me sit with that one for a bit and see how it soaks in with me and see how it integrates with my life. And let me just experiment with it for a couple of days. And Andrew even said at the beginning, I forgot how you worded it, but a couple of things you didn't want to face that came up in the chart. Like a couple of things that you're like, yep, that's me. Yeah. You're like, I'm not ready to face that one. Yeah. Like you take these things and you integrate them into your life. You see how they fit. It's in no way trying to replace a belief system or be a belief system. It's simply a tool to add to your toolkit.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thanks. No, and that was a great question. My mom actually asked that question, initially because I was like, oh my gosh, we have to read your human design chart, and she was like, I was made by God. I was like, no, absolutely. I was like 100%.
Yeah.
I was like, but that's like, so it's not here to change your belief system at all. No. So no, that was a great answer to that, and great question.
Yeah.
On my Instagram down here.
So the things I'm going to be covering in the webinar. So I'm going to be covering your type, authority, strategy, which if you've ever been introduced to human design, you are maybe familiar with these things. If not, I'm also going to review what they are. I also think it's super important to kind of get a little taste of all of the types, because we have different types of people in our life. So I'll be covering those things. I'll be covering profiles, and I'll be covering how you become magnetic. And so what that really means is to become magnetic is what I believe happens when you become fully you. When you come home to fully being you, you literally become magnetic to who and what you want in your life. To who and what you desire in your life, and who and what you need in your life. You literally can't help but attract it in when you are fully living as you. So that's what it means to me to become magnetic.
And to give an example of kind of, maybe explain it to some people who've never heard human design things, but it's one of those things that we start looking at each other's charts and realize that like we close what's called gates, which you'll learn more about on the webinar, but we close so many of each other's gates and kind of like complete that, right? So like we're our own complete person, but then we complement each other.
Yeah.
Just like almost perfectly, so many different places, and that's really like what it talks about with like relationships. Yeah. And once you see like how you can like connect with other people, and you magnetically attract these people that are kind of fill those gates for you. You start seeing that catalyst, and you're like, oh, that's really cool. Yeah,
and you can start to learn too, like where you maybe have been overcompensating in your life, because oftentimes when we have something that's maybe not one of our innate strengths, of course we can always learn it. But if there's a missing space in our design, oftentimes we'll try and overcompensate for that. And I won't go too far down the rabbit hole on this, but I was doing a session for someone yesterday, 2 days ago, and I opened up a space that was showing that that part of her that was just like a gap in the energy, just meaning she didn't come here with that innate strength. And she was like, oh my gosh. She was like, that's what I majored in college, not because I wanted to, but because I kept feeling like, why does everyone know this and I don't? So she literally had an example of doing that in her life. So anyways, you guys, come to the webinar. Come to the webinar. There's so much goodness to tap into. Did you have questions for me? And do you all have questions? Please put them in. Thank you for being here. I can't reach the comments as well up here, but hi, hello, thank you for joining us live. I'm seeing if we have anything in here. Sorry, I'm all up in this live.
I was like, you're right in. But
Harriet
right up
says,
her nose, right?
This is fascinating. It really is. It's like, when I opened it up, I couldn't look away.
And we're just like literally, like she's just like barely giving you like right now like what's going to be on this webinar, and I mean just like barely just touching like surface level stuff. And you know, I could ask you questions all night about it, because this stuff seriously just fascinates the hell out of me, you know, because it's just like some of this reading some of this stuff just doesn't even make sense. Like how, I mean, I literally was talking about, I was like, you know, I was like, I really want to go back to school and, you know, kind of focus on like finance, and I was like, I'm kind of just want to get back into sales and kind of look more into like maybe even becoming a politician here and kind of get in the political more political stance on some stuff.
Look out, world.
And then she read that. She's like, well, let's like see if that's in your human design out of curiosity.
I read it word for word.
Yeah, and it's
word
literally
for word.
Like tell them what you read. Like
it literally was like you essentially you will be in a position of leadership in a sales role where people will recognize that part of you, and then it will lead into or can lead into, I should say, a political role.
Yeah, and it's like literally like I just said that, and we're like, oh well, let's just look for the fun, and I was like,
it was crazy.
What the heck?
It's wild. Yeah. It's happened so many times. Come to the webinar. I see Harriet asked, will you be doing private coaching on this? I am opening up something real special on the webinar on
cliffhanger.
Dun dun dun. So if you can't make the webinar live, I will be sending a replay. If you want to be in the live Q&A, that will only be for people who are on live, and then I'll be opening up some offerings, plural, and you'll hear about those after Thursday, after the webinar peeps.
Links in the bio.
Yeah, links in the bio, so come join. No, not on the spot at all. I'm excited to share the offering. You all have been DMing me, and my clients are like, please put this out, and I'm like, okay, it's coming.
I've seriously never seen her more excited about anything.
Yeah,
like
I'm super pumped. So closing this up, did you have more questions? I don't see any more coming in here. Eliana, it is awesome. I'm just so obsessed with it. I can't wait to continue sharing it and sprinkling it in more on this journey. Yeah, did you have more? No.
Didn't have any more questions for you.
Okay, so if you had to wrap it up in like one sentence or a couple words, like why should people come join this free webinar on Thursday, June 25th?
Yeah, Thursday. What time? Do we have a time yet? I put her on the spot there.
It's either 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. Eastern.
I think it's 2 p.m. Eastern, if I recall.
Hold that thought, but continue with why people should join.
So, honestly, you should join this webinar because you're going to learn how you operate, right? I guess the best way to say is that we've been raised, by our parents, right? And they're different. Like everybody's human design is different. So we've been raised by our parents, our teachers, society. And they build these constructs for us, right? They kind of put everybody in a box. And, not on purpose. It's not like, oh God, I can't believe my parents did that to me. I can't believe, my teachers raised me this way. Don't look at that because they were just doing the best they knew how, right? And so now you've kind of built this box. And, give an example of like where, again, kind of going back to what I was talking about in the very beginning of how they're like, you're meant to go to college. You're meant to get this job. You're meant to, stay there, get married, do all, it's like they set up these social constructs, right, for us. And it kind of takes away a lot of your creativity and kind of takes away a lot of just like confidence and trust in yourself, right? And like throughout your life, you kind of build that confidence as you grow. But I mean, this is like a shortcut.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, literally like a shortcut to that confidence,
Yeah.
to breaking out of those constructs that you've been taught all of your life.
Yeah.
And and that's what she's gonna be sharing. And I mean, and that's those breakthroughs that I had of literally sitting down with her, and she's gonna essentially walk you through the exact same thing that she's walked me through and a couple other people now. And I mean, just the results of just feeling free, right? And just feeling like just confident in your decision making, confident in just moving through life. And that's so rewarding.
Yeah. And big and small, like it's honestly cracked us up a couple of times. Like knowing the way we both make decisions, like we will find ourselves cracking up when we go through the famous relationship question, what do you want to eat for dinner? And we literally see our human design play out in that.
It's like where she has like talked things out. So she's like chicken, beef, steak, broccoli, potato. And it's like she says like one of those, I'm like, steak. Nope, you don't need to keep talking about it. We're getting this. I want this. But that's like mine, like my gut feeling, right? It's like no pun intended there. But it's like my gut is like, this is it. This is what we're going. This is where we're going to get it. And she's like still talking, and I'm like, oh, I've already made the decision, but she's still talking through it, right?
But it's made these interactions, just even small like day-to-day interactions, so much easier. We just have a little laugh about it, and we're able to just recognize even on an even deeper level. I think I can toot our own horn and say we've had pretty good communication skills as a couple, but on a deeper level, like,
not all the time, but we try. We do our best.
We're able to just like recognize and see each other for like our own unique design, and it's pretty cool to see. And the big things, like I think it's Mark Manson talks about in his book that we're never really taught to discover our own truth. And just like you were talking about, like we're just taught to blueprint our parents' truth. We're just taught to blueprint societal truths. And I think that now more than ever, it's just so important to step into your full power. Like the world needs it. The world needs you in your full power, showing up, stepping up, and rising up for what you were always meant to become. And that's exactly what we're unlocking in all of this. So with that,
can't wait to see you on the webinar.
I can't wait to see you on. Harriet says perfect, just time zones, so not sure. Harriet's in my favorite time zone in the UK. Oh, my heart.
I think
my heart is in the UK.
What, 5 hours ahead?
Yes, you will get the replay if you're on the list, and I'll just pop in and make sure that you got it after. So thank you all so much for joining us. I'm so beyond excited to open the doors to this opportunity and to host this free web class. I've literally jam-packed it with stuff.
I'm excited for you all to have some of these breakthroughs that I've had. I know what's coming up, and I'm just like, ah!
So I can't wait to see you all there, and I can't wait to celebrate your breakthroughs, and have a beautiful night.
Yeah, enjoy the rest of your evening.